Does
100%.
Lebowski Thor work for you, or does this undermine his character?
Man.
Dude, I fucking loved it.
All right, Ryan, you have
come to-
grievances. Let's hear these. Bring out the Festivus poll.
I see. Okay. So I won't take too long on this because it's a moot point. I grew up like Thor is like one of my favorite comic book heroes, and the reason why is because in comics he is the only god who is like born with this amazing power and constantly strives to be worthy of it. And in the striving, he proves himself the most worthy god in the cosmos. It's why he's such an amazing hero and why he's such an amazing character. He has flaws, but he's constantly trying to overcome his flaws. He's trying to learn from them, and he becomes one of the wisest kings and rulers ever. And this one he gave up. He just kind of gave up. And I understand his character arc, and I actually like how they specifically address that thought in the movie, where he's having the conversation with his mom, and she says, everybody fails at what they're supposed to be. We only succeed when we start being who we are instead of who we're supposed to be. And so it was almost like the directors were specifically talking to Thor fans, like, look, he's not comic book Thor. He's movie Thor. He's different, and he's going to be what he's going to be. And you just have to hold that. And he's a fun character. He's fun, and he like, I enjoy every time I see him on screen. He's bomb as hell and really powerful and really, really cool, and he's gonna pal around with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's gonna be fun. But you just, yes. I kind of had to say farewell to like the Odin son that I had, like the image in my mind. I had to come to grips with the fact that I'm never going to see that guy in the MCU, and I have to be happy with what we have, which is still really good. It's just a little less than worthy, in my opinion.
I was a bit torn with it because, you know, it created a lot of like humor, cheap laughs, and things like that. But the thing is as I thought about it, it actually frustrated me because they presented Thor as basically the character who had the worst PTSD after what happened because he's carrying this guilt of failure. Granted, all the other characters are carrying, you know, feelings of failure and things like that, and it was a horrific event with watching all these people die. But for Thor, he broke down. You know, he became less of the leader that he was used to. He started binge drinking, likely to forget all the emotions and everything that had happened. I mean, they couldn't even say Thanos' name where the Asgardians were. But, so he's struggling with a ton of emotional crap, a ton of PTSD, and they ended up playing it off as a joke with him in a lot of ways. I mean, when they showed him with his beer gut and everything, like, the theater started laughing, and my friend next to me is like, oh, gross. And I'm sitting there going, this dude has been through a lot. Like, he let himself go because okay, as someone who has depression and anxiety, I understand eating your emotions. He was drinking his emotions. So, yes. I thought it made me frustrated for those who have PTSD and mental illnesses that will cause this type of thing to happen. And I don't think it should have been treated so much as a joke. I did like the fact that we did get serious moments, like with him and his mother, and also when he talked about failure and how he felt like it was failure and everything like that. And it was kind of nice to see a larger character, you know, still manage to kick frickin' ass during the battle scene, but I don't think it was a good reflection on people who struggle with PTSD.
You know what? You actually bring up a really good point, and I just thought of a new spin on it in regards to mental illness. It seems particularly poignant to me now that, like, in thinking about it in this light, that Thor's recovery came, like, to a semblance of normal didn't come from him constantly trying to get back to where he was before, but
Mm-hmm.
rather it was accepting where he was now and
Mm.
making peace with that, and like finding stability, finding a new normal, as opposed to trying to piece together what they had before, which,
Yeah.
like, mentally is actually a really really healthy message. So it's very
I
interesting.
completely agree with you. I didn't think of that. I completely agree with you, especially with the fact that he felt it was right to give the Asgardians over to Valkyrie because he said, I'm not that person. You know, he's not that person anymore. So he's doing something that he feels will help him, and that may be with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they took, like, Thor actually has one of, like, the deepest, like, thorough lines of trauma in the entire movie, and it is hidden and couched in, like, a joke, a constant reoccurring joke. But when you
Yeah.
really start prying at it, it's really deep, and it actually says a lot about mental illness. So this
Hmm.
is what I meant by this is one of the most subtle movies that Marvel has done, because they
Right.
do, this is only one storyline that they did.
I want to add to that real quick. So I'm going to derail slightly, but what you guys are talking about, I came with a theory idea. I think each of the Avengers embodies an element of the stages of grief.
Ooh. Oh, I want to
Ooh.
hear this one.
So
Yeah.
I had to look up the list to see what they all were, and I had to try to think if it all matched up. I think Thor's in denial. He's trying to avoid the problem and
Yeah.
pretend it doesn't exist, and
Hmm.
he's just kind of distancing himself from everything. He's denial for sure. Tony could kind of be a couple different things, but I think anger makes the most sense because he is angry at Cap and everyone else for letting him down and not being there when he needed them. I think that makes the most sense for him. I think bargaining could be a couple different people, but I think Hulk makes the most sense. He's trying to make the best of his situation and trying to find the meaning of it by becoming this Professor Hulk character. I think it kind of works for him that way. In the case of acceptance, I think Captain America, because he's looking forward to trying to make a new plan to solve what they can do going forward.
And he's trying to help people accept it as the
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I
Keep
can't.
going.
I can't pin down depression, but I think Natasha or Clint kind of fit that pretty strong either way.
They both kind
See,
of
I
are,
think-
don't you think?
I honestly think that with Iron Man, his would be more depression of that he got let down by his team, and Clint is definitely anger. I mean, he
Yeah.
goes on a killing spree, and it's just killing everybody.
So, like, I would say if you're looking at it, like, I would say some of these ring true in the first 15 minutes of the movie, but don't ring true in the, like, after the 5 year skip. If we're looking at the list, I would say that Clint was definitely anger, because at the end of it all, he turned it all to rage and started killing people that he felt didn't deserve life at this point. I would say that Natasha was actually the bargaining one, because while she was doing everything that she could to try and salvage, like, what she could hold on to, and she was trying to essentially fill Nick Fury's role and hold on to the role that he gave her that made her life better, despite what had happened. I think denial is definitely, like, denial, I would say, was definitely Thor. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I would actually argue that after the 5 year time skip, it's Tony that embodies acceptance, because he was the only one that actually moved on. He had his own life. Him and Pepper and Morgan, they had their own cottage, and they were just living a happy life after the tragedy was all said and done. They had to
That's a
bring
good
him
point.
onto it.
That's really interesting. Like, Aaron, that's a really good thing to bring. Good thing to bring up. Oh, he's having connection issues.
No! Well, while he's doing
Where are
that,
you?
Hey, can you hear me now?
There he is.
He's back.
He's back.
I noticed my internet was like lagging super hard for a minute, and then I looked down, and that suddenly my Wi-Fi goes from the bars to the little like yellow sign. I'm like, fuck, and then everything starts shutting down. I'm like, no, go away, stop this bullshit.
Well, we were all agreeing with you. We were just having
Yeah.
different theories of what each, who embodied each stage of grief.
God damn it, I'm gone for like 30 seconds out there to hear.
Yeah, you posed like a really interesting question, and then you didn't get to hear our answers.
But no, I love
Yeah.
the theory. Though. I love how it went down. I'm glad you guys are kind of on board with it. I think it's fun. I think it's a cool idea.
Oh, yeah.